Okay, so well, first, hey y'all, hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's doing good. It's your boy Cloud coming to you. Um, so, just to let you know, I got 3 words that I'm going to record today. The Lord was very, very adamant about this being done. I've just been having crazy dreams and crazy visions, like He's just been showing me for like the last couple of weeks, but these 3 that I'm going to put out today they all came together. The last one wrapped up last night. He brought it to me. So this uh, dream that I had happened a few days ago. I believe it was on July 11th. Okay, so when I had this dream, I just to give context, I saw, like, I'm a comic book nerd. Like, I grew up on comic books and I'm huge on it. I don't really look at them anymore. Rarely, very rare. But this short popped up on YouTube and it was about crossing over. And they happened to have this one, uh, superhero that is the protector from Marvel Comics and DC Comics crossing over. So their superheroes can't, mesh, only under, certain circumstances. Well, in this particular comic, this superhero was looking for the Green Lantern. The Green Lantern wasn't available, so he went over to Marvel to find the Silver Surfer for help. And and the guy, basically his name was like the crossover superhero, was his name. So I was like, huh, that's interesting. I never knew that Marvel and DC, shared the same type of character. But this is not this is just in context. So that was, prior, I think a few days prior. And on the 11th, I took a nap. So as I'm taking a nap, all of a sudden I see the comic book pop up in my dream. And I'm like, and I'm in this crowd. And in the crowd, it's almost like we're in a city, but things are being highlighted almost like strobe lights and like a big gathering was taking place. Uh, like it was like a celebration. Like, I don't want to say like strobe lights, but like it was like being highlighted. Like things were like sparkly type of look. And it's kind of like when you get those point of views from looking at a concert, and the concert is showing the crowd, but you can't see the whole crowd, but you see the lights like flowing over the crowd, and they're highlighted in different like blues and purples and pink hues and that type of stuff, with disco balls and all that kind of crazy jazz. Well, as I'm in this crowd, somebody turns to me and they look at me, and I can't see their face. I don't know who they are, but they say he doesn't know. And I'm like, and I respond to them, know what? What do I not know? And they say, yeah, he doesn't know. And they were like, tell him he needs to know. And I'm like, okay. And they go, the sheep are crossing over. I'm like, the sheep are crossing over? They're like, yeah, do you get it now? The sheep are crossing over. And I looked at them for a second, and they're like, get it now? Like, they were like, do you get it now? The sheep are crossing over. It was like a couple people telling me, and they were in the crowd. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, the sheep. And then I jolt up out of like my nap, but I could still see the dream. And like, as the dream, like, it turns into like a vision, I see the sheep jumping over the comic book that I saw called, the crossover, the superhero crossover, and the sheep were jumping over the comic book. So, okay, Then I looked at the clock and it was 1:55. And I was like, okay, 1:55. Like it just, I'm like, all right, 1:55 p.m. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, whoa, that was crazy. Because the difference in this type of dream was like, it felt like there were there was other believers there. Like not let me it felt like I was in the room with other believers taking taken to this dream. And when I took the nap, because God works everything out, I came to, I guess, like the meeting place, like on the spiritual plane. I don't know anything all that stuff and everything. I just go by, what the Lord gives me. But it felt like He took me to like where other believers were, and I came to, the quote unquote party. Like it was like a party. You know how like when you have a release party for an album or a movie's about to come out, they have uh, they'll celebrate, the elites and stuff like that, or even just for like a celebration for, your kids or whatever when they're about to graduate, or you have a party for them after the, post graduation, or you have a pre graduation, get together for everybody for the big day that's about to take place and stuff like that in celebration of it. That's what it felt like. And it felt like I arrived there and everybody was letting me know what I missed. So, it's like they were informing me, letting me know. And it could have been angels, uh, being messengers. It could have been, God speaking. That He was, you know, delegating what was taking place. But definitely, one thing is for sure, it was definitely a type of celebration, and they were informing me the sheep were crossing over. And the thing that popped in my head too immediately was, after I woke up and I looked at the clock, was my sheep hear my voice. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, Lord, something's going on. Like something big's about to happen. What is it? And of course, like anything that I say, always take it back to Jesus Christ. Always pray about it. Read your Bible. Get in where you fit in with the Lord. Your relationship is the most important thing ever. Take me, listen to what the Lord has to say. Pray over everything. But something's about to happen. Something's taking place. Uh, and it's amazing how the Lord communicates. But that's what popped in my head immediately. And we're crossing over. And from what I gathered, what was being put on my spirit, whoever hears this in some form or fashion, whether the Lord comes to you in a dream, a vision, He's talking through you to you through somebody on social media, a pastor, a friend of another believer, what have you. However, the Lord communicates with you, only you know that. It's your relationship, but this is being communicated. Like the crossover is being communicated. Whether it happened last month, 5 months ago, he gave you a timeline yesterday, 2 seconds ago, 5 days from now, whatever the case may be, this is being communicated. The Lord is letting His sheep know that they are crossing over. Whatever fold, sheepfold it's supposed to be that's crossing over. And this is not the Red Sea crossover. This is like the Jordan crossover, where you're coming into the promised land and it's time for that work. And he's already placed you already in the promised land. You're already about to move to the promised land, or he's already let you know, like in this certain period of time, that you're about to move and go to your promised land, and you're going in it. And there's about to be some work that needs to get done. So this is not the Red Sea crossover. This is the Jordan River crossover. I want to make that very distinctive. You've already gone through your wilderness. You've already have gone through a rest period. This is that you're going into the promised land and work needs to get done. Like it's time to take hold of it, take heed of it. Okay? Now, of course I looked at the clock and it was 1:55. And the Lord brought me to the verse, in Psalms 119, verse 155. And then, he brought me to the Hebrews coordinates on what 155 means. Now, a few things. One, the cloak. It's funny because I was watching a couple of shows and they were talking about cloaks and putting coats on, being protected, covering up. The cloak that's being put on to the sheep is the glory of God, like the armor of God. He is covering you. You are covered going in full transparency. The Lord is covering you. You are protected. You have your hedge of protection, the armor of God, the whole 9 yards. Like, this is big. What people have been praying for, this particular fold that's going in, and you have to take this back to the Lord. But protection, the glory of God, excuse me. It's tremendous. This is like a fantastic moment. But also keep in mind, keep your pride at the door. The bad pride, that is. Come humble. Because there are a lot of people, a lot of things, a lot of distractions that are going to try to get you off course as this crossover is taking place and as you are in your promised land. There's going to be a lot of wicked, mischievous, deceitful, treacherous vermin trying to creep on your coattails. So be cautious, but be brave, be bold, go with the Lord. There's a lot of spiritual principalities, a lot of evil that's going to be coming at your doorstep, trying to deceive you, trying to trick you, pretending they're one thing and they're another. A bunch of frenemies. And some are not going to be frenemies. Some are just going to be straight up enemies. Some are going to be friends and family members that don't even know that they're being used. But you have to use discernment, and you have to use wisdom, and you have to pray. You got to talk to the Lord on whatever the situation is. It's important because it only takes a little bit of misdirection, a little argument here, getting angry here, getting sad here, feeling dejected here, where it knocks you off course just a little bit to knock you off the direction that the Lord is trying to bring you. That's why it's important to stay in prayer. It's so important. Because these people are not looking to hear what the Lord is saying. They're not trying to take up his commandments. They're not trying to follow the Lord and, love thy neighbor. So you got to have your head on a swivel. So whatever the Lord's instructed you with, stay on it. That's your map. That's your GPS. Follow the Holy Spirit, right? The sheep are crossing over. My sheep hear my voice. Okay. Love everybody. Hope everybody's good. Hope everybody's having a great day. You'll hear from me about 2 more times. All right. See y'all later.